What up, gamers? TB from SMB coming at you today with a little. I want to do a little technical analysis stuff here. Show all y'all what I'm looking at for tomorrow. And there's some setups. They excite me. They excite me greatly. They make me feel things that I haven't felt in 7 weeks, to be honest. Wow, this is nice. I'm very excited for one play in particular, but just a few other stocks that I'm looking at. There's some nice stuff out there. There's some nice stuff. So, first things first. Oh, this just gets me so hyped, dude. I haven't been like hyped like this, and it feels like I'm feeling emotion again for the first time in a while. I mean bullish emotion. This Qualcomm setup, baby. Holy shit! It's perfect. It's perfect. It's perfect. 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 Throw a little TikTok at you there. Boom! Holy moly, this setup right here gets my juices flowing. It makes blood flow to certain parts of my body, dude. I'm telling you what, chat team, SMB squad. This setup on Qualcomm is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Wow, this is your textbook, textbook boys. Falling wedge right here. This is so perfectly beautiful that it's wild. I don't know how to feel about it. It's something else. It's almost too perfect. It's scary. That's how bad this market has been. Is that when I see a setup that's so perfect, I'm like, it can't be real. It's got to be fake because these setups just don't happen to me. But this is one of them. What I'm seeing here, this is a textbook falling wedge. Holy moly. It's literally rip it out of a textbook on how to day trade. This is ridiculous. At the bottom, so reverse or falling wedge is a reversal trend, especially at the bottom of a huge sell-off, which Qualcomm has been doing. It was at 193 just not too long ago. We're all the way down to 140. But this right here, starting and ironically, it starts right at the start of the huge sell-off that we had. So that tells me that these ranges are super solid because what did Qualcomm do for that 2 week span at the end of March where it ripped? That's the range of this falling wedge. It's literally perfect. It's crazy, dude. It gets me so hyped. So yeah, it's perfect. So, looking into tomorrow, it did close at 141-ish, I believe. So it did close like technically above this after hours, but I need to see where it opens. I need to see what it does tomorrow. I'm liking some out of the money calls here, boys. This is not a prank. This is not a drill. This is some wacky shit I'm seeing here on Qualcomm. So yeah, it did close right at like 141-ish, I guess, or like 140.50. Whatever, doesn't matter. Extended hours in the holiday weekend. No one's trading anyway. So yeah, it's money. I need to see it break this. And then another thing so what I'm trying to do more in my charting and my technical analysis is not just look for just like plain old trend lines, but look for confluences. Look for two different factors. So we have this rising wedge here that it's hit once, twice, thrice, and bounce off of. So anytime after three, usually the third one breaks, but anytime after the third one, it's more and more likely every time it taps it that it's going to break it, especially in the market that we're in right now, and the fact that we're getting really green. We had a super green week last week, and we're probably going to carry that momentum over into this week, assuming there's no terrible news. But yeah, it's perfect. So, anyways, the confluence I'm seeing right now is this daily 50 simple moving average, which it has tapped off of multiple times now. It's tapped it right there, it tapped it right there, rejected. So we're going to tap a trend line that will just so happen to be right where that daily 50 simple moving average is. So that's a huge break. If we break above 141.50 and we hold that, oh baby, I'm looking at. So, and then another thing I noticed, oh, who'd have guessed this? It's almost like other people see this setup because you look at the option statistics from Friday of last week, and holy moly, somebody loaded up on a lot of calls. Holy shit. Lots of calls bought on Qualcomm at the ask price. That means people are buying the calls. When it's at the ask price, more people are buying calls than selling calls. So that is nuts. You can look at the biggest order. Somebody loaded up on, God, what is that? 1,500 times 3. Somebody loaded up on 1,500 out of the money calls for July 1st at $145 strike price. That's nuts. At $340 a contract, if I can get my handy dandy calculator times 340, so that's about $500,000 worth of calls somebody grabbed right there. That's nuts. It's crazy. So that's usually doesn't mean anything, but I love to look when it's like about to break out of a bullish trend. I love to see what the options look like because it can typically tell you that when people are buying options that big on something like Qualcomm, some like random stock, it's usually a good sign. It usually means people are seeing what I'm seeing, and it's confirmation. It's never the reason I would ever get bullish on something, but it's a reason I would help confirm what I already think. So this is beautiful, but I'm not gonna buy. If we open gap down tomorrow and we come back down, then I will wait until we come down and retest this support line down here. But then another real key thing here. Holy moly, I gotta zoom out really far here. So just another key thing here is that we're bouncing off a huge support zone that we've had this entire time. So not only is it just a perfect falling wedge, it's also a solid bounce off of a support that we've held up this entire pullback that Qualcomm's been around. It's been on for I mean, geez, ever since January of last year. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's beautiful. And Qualcomm, so that's the worrying part is that Qualcomm does not move very fast. So if it breaks out of this to the upside, it only goes up a couple percent. It might not look like it's going to do much, or it could just take its time. So I'm looking at calls that are a few weeks out of the money. And this is all assuming that the market in general is green. Assuming the AMD, the NVIDIA, the TSM, those are all also green because Qualcomm won't move up if those are all moving down. But wow, this is just a perfect setup. So I'm looking at, I'm looking here, looking at my call options here. I'm looking at 3 weeks out, looking at the 145 strike price. Look at the open interest on that. There's 9,000 of those things held out there. Somebody knows something because that is a lot. There is also even more $135 puts, but that, I mean, out of the money calls being held that much in this market, that's pretty wild. That's some nice stuff. It's some good confirmation. I like seeing that. Because other people are also confident this thing's going up. But I like those calls. Those are at 250 pop right now, assuming we open close to where we're at. So I'm looking at getting like maybe 4 or 5 of those things. I mean, shit, this is a beautiful setup. I really, really like it. So my only worry is that we could bounce off of this level and form a double top right here. So I'm going to watch and see. I'm going to draw some fibs first. Should have done this before I started recording. Whoops. Draw Fibonacci here. So, oh, and then another fib level right there too. Of course there is, dude. It's so perfect. There's levels everywhere. So, we got to hold above this level right here at 140. Of course, 140, the big psych level. Got to hold that. If we don't, so there could be a potential that we break up and then we come back down. So if we break out of this level, break above 141.50, and then we could come up here and tap, oh my god, these fibs are perfect. It tapped up here even perfectly too. Wow, wow, whoa. Where else? There's some key levels here. So another key level right here at 145, obviously 145, but we could come up, tap 145, bounce down. I will look to see if we get some support here at this really major fib level, 141.50. Wow, these fib levels are real money. What the H? Holy moly, that's kind of crazy. It wicked up to that perfectly right there. Perfectly. What the hell? Within 4 cents. So, yeah, I don't think, I mean, nothing's going to go straight up in this market. Who knows? Maybe. I mean, it did for 2 weeks back in March. So we got our 1 week last week, so I'm already halfway. The rally's already halfway over in terms of how long rallies last in this market. But, I mean, just in grand scheme of things, I'm thinking, like, we sold off for almost 6 months straight, with the exception of maybe 5 weeks in between there. There's got to be some green at some point. Like, shorts are going to cover. They're not just going to stay short forever. They're going to take some profits eventually before they re-short when the Fed has to jack up interest rates. But besides all that, that's what I'm looking at for Qualcomm. So this is what we call in the biz a perfect setup, ladies and gentlemen. This is honestly too good to be true. No, it's not. But it is just like literally textbook. Like when I open that chart, I mean, immediately, it's like the chart told me what it's gonna do next. Like it's not one where I had to like fart around and look for a setup. When I see a chart where it's like, oh my god, that's instantly like I saw it immediately, instantly a falling wedge. Perfect. Just ridiculous. So another one I'm looking at here is Amazon. So Amazon has a stock split coming up in a few days on the 6th of June, and something tells me that when it does, it's like Facebook earnings. When it dumps in the earnings, you would kind of assume that it might do the opposite once the event happens. So if it dumps into a catalyst, you expect the inverse of what happened before the catalyst to happen. So we dumped into the stock split. It had terrible earnings, all that. But we have the stock split coming up, and if we just so happen, the market just so happens to rally with the stock split, I like Amazon a lot to the upside. We have to take this key level here first at 23.10. So I really like it there. If we can break above that, key level break up. If we can break above that, then I really, honestly, I like it to a price target of 23.83. Got to break that, but yeah, it's a nice setup that Amazon has. It's not a dead company by any means. It is never going anywhere. That's not a controversial statement, I wouldn't think, but yeah, it's got a big old stock split. So I like shares on this. I'm not going to get calls. They're way too goddamn expensive. But I like shares in this stock split, and then I can hedge myself with puts once the stock does split. Puts will be nice and cheap. So I like that on Amazon. I really like that on Amazon. So I'm looking at taking a pretty substantial position here on Amazon if we rally for these next couple weeks, which I do believe we will. Oh, just right off the top, I see a nice fib level right there. Oh yeah, that's money. Oh, and then another thing I gotta show. So, when you get a falling wedge, you look for... You draw a box, and you look... Alright, where exactly is the top of the wedge? Where's the bottom of the wedge? So, you got the top of the wedge up here, and a falling wedge, a typical retracement after it breaks out of a falling wedge is a 50% move to the upside. So, just off that alone, I can give a solid target... If I can actually get to my fib. So just to the 50% mark alone, 144-ish. But, yeah, I would like to see this thing go to 150. I think it will go to 150, honestly. I mean, it's too money. It's too perfect. Otherwise... What I'm looking at on the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, this all depends on if we gap up or down. That's why I hate trying to chart the NASDAQ before the market's open, because it's looking like now we're going to gap up a little bit. So I assume we gap up above the key level, this very key, very, very important fib level over here that we've had at 309.61. So if we open above that, if we retest that, bounce there, I really like it to the upside, but if we open up above that, break it, I'm watching for a major, super important retest at a, where's that? Right at 306.27. If that one holds, so this is my little game plan I'm thinking on the NASDAQ here. I'm thinking scenario A, we gap up, we come up and tap major level here at 315, psych level, we come back down, retest another key level, see if we get support there before we eventually continue ripping to the upside, and then bounce from there upwards. Otherwise, something bad goes on overnight. I say if we gap down, we come down, retest 306.50, bounce off that, come up, retest, or actually first test of 309. If we break that, that'd be huge. This level is really key because it was a former resistance, so you always look to see if past resistance turns into future support. That would be huge, so I really like a retest of that. I would love some calls off of that level to the upside for the NASDAQ, but that's it. I mean, this short video, I see a setup as perfect as Qualcomm, and I'm like, why do I need any other setups? This is literal money. So I do have other plays. I'm not even going to bother with them. SPY, same thing as NASDAQ. But yeah, that Qualcomm play, whoo, I'm jacked for that baby. So I just had to get a little video out there. So price target on Qualcomm, I'm just gonna check back in a couple weeks on this, see if I was anywhere close to being correct on this. But I like price target on Qualcomm at 150, 116 at least, if not past that. But also past that, we just so happen to have a gap to the upside. So shit, we might even fill that gap to the upside and come all up to 153. Oh, and there's our gap right there. You get gaps to the upside on this thing. Oh, it's just perfect. The perfect setup, boys. Come on. They can't just give you perfect setups like this. It's not fair. I missed the gap on that one. Oh man, I like Qualcomm's setup a lot here. So, whoa, I'm jacked up, baby. I got good vibes. Good vibes coming in tomorrow, boys. Let's keep it up. We are oversold or overbought on the RSI, so I need to see that RSI cool off. I think we'll come down a little bit. We might even, who knows? If we have a bloody ass red day, the Qs have a gap to fill. There's gaps to fill, so we could come down, bounce off that gap fill at 136. If I see a bounce off of that, I will assume we're going up more, but tough to say. We'll see what happens. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all, folks. See y'all tomorrow. Let's see what happens. I might grab some calls. This is some cheeky stuff. And let's get a green June. How about it? Come on, folks. Give us a green June. We've deserved it. I've been sitting through this shit for 6 months. Give me some green.